It's Morbin time. We begin with Dr. Michael floating through the rainforests of Costa Rica, probably in search for the almighty Morb. He approaches a cave, brandishing a pair of crutches, the sight of which makes the movie's entire crew want to quit the industry. Then, a fleet of bats races towards him, and oh shit, is he about to morb? Guess we'll never know, because now we're back in time in Greece. Michael is but a young Morbie, a very sick one at that. Dr. Nicholas brings him a new friend, Lucian, though Michael insists on calling him Milo. He calls all his new friends Milo, and then they die. What the fuck kind of a twisted game is this kid playing? Some dumbass kids outside make dumbass noises, and I guess we're meant to be afraid of them. Michael says to Milo that they are the few against the many, a borderline unintelligible life lesson that the kid will take to heart for the rest of his life. Then, Milo dies. Little Morbie puts a spring in his life support machine and fixes everything. Dr. Nicholas tells Michael that even a team of scientists couldn't figure that out. Dr. Nicholas needs new scientists. He determines that the boy is a genius and wants to send him to a special school. Michael bails on Milo without a second thought, and Milo immediately gets his cheeks clapped by the dumbasses outside. Cut to 20 years later, or maybe it's 40, I can't tell how old Jared Leto is. Michael is a doctor now, and the King of Sweden wants to give him a nonsense award. He invented fake blood and has saved more lives than Jeebus. In a fun twist, Michael tells the King of Sweden to shove it. If it's not a Grammy, I don't want it, he says. Michael's co-doctor Martine scolds him for things. The two are mixing human DNA with bat DNA, a project funded entirely by Mike's old friend, Milo. She activates the bat shaft, which apparently she has somehow never seen before. She tells him he could lose his license, but he reminds her that the plot of this movie makes no sense, so she should chill. Michael says vampire bats feed exclusively on blood. To drink it, they produce saliva that produces anticoagulants. In other words, if Michael were to morb, it would solve everything. The spinny machine stops spinning, and all the science is done. The good doctor jabs a mouse with the morb juice. The mouse dies instantly. Suddenly, a nurse enters and says that a child named Anna is in trouble. He doctors it up, and then Martine notices something shocking. The mouse is still alive. The mouse just fucking morbed. Later, Michael goes to visit his old buddy Milo. Dr. Nicholas is still looking after him for some reason. Milo is also richer than God for some reason. None of this makes any goddamn sense. They go for a walk, and Milo tells Michael not to fall in love with Martine because they need to remain incels forever. In a park, Michael tells Milo he's figured out the cure. It's expensive, he says, illegal, dangerous, and must be done in international waters. Milo is down. They say, we're the few against the many. Again, just in case you forgot. Cut to international waters. Seriously, that's the name of the place. A racially diverse crew of jackasses play cards, while Michael and Martine play in a fully equipped laboratory in the next room. The computer does all the science for them again. Jared Leto makes a weird face, signaling that, yes, it's Morbin time. Martine injects goop into his spine and straps his gross body to the table. He starts vibrating, ready to morb. The ship captain comes in and says misogynistic things, but then they realize Michael is gone. They worry for a moment, but then, oh fuck, he morbed. He kills the doctor immediately. Martine tries to lock him into the cell, but he starts morbing all over the place. The jackasses enter with big guns and knock Martine out. Michael morbs all over the goddamn room, and everyone dies. He sees Martine and gets really mad. He goes first-person morb and crawls around. The goons shoot bullets at a bunch of explosive stuff, and then Morbius eats them all. One guy even gets morbed from the ceiling. Later that night, Michael wakes up. He's not looking so hot, but suddenly, he looks really hot. That's the kind of body that could run a cult. He runs to Martine, who looks dead, so he puts a blankie on her. Then he watches instant remorb on the computer and feels sick. He calls in a rescue, pockets the juice, and jumps off the boat. FBI agents Stroud and Rodriguez enter the boat. They make witty, relatable jokes, which lightens the mood. Milo watches on TV from his Playboy Palace. Seriously, where'd he get the money to buy all this colorful shit? Michael visits Martine in the hospital, then goes to his lab. His bones start to wobble, and he knows he needs to morb again. He goes into a room that has red blood and blue blood, real and synthetic. He almost goes with the red, but then decides the Matrix is crap and goes with the blue. He does an epic frat chug and almost prematurely immorbulates. Cue the montage of Michael discovering his sweet powers. He gets in the bath with his bat hose. They touch him sexually. He clicks the right stick to activate his Witcher senses, and he realizes he's amazing at wall ball. He laments that artificial blood won't work forever. He morbs faster and faster every time. Milo comes to visit, and Michael writes blood in blood. Blood? Milo asks. Obviously, you twit. Milo gets the blood, and Morbie beer bongs that shit. If Michael wanted the blood that bad, why do you lock himself in that room? Milo sees how sexy Jared Leto looks, and decides he'll have what he's having. Michael says he's killed people. Milo says, "Sign me up, daddy." Michael yells at him to leave. The next day, the detectives talk to Martine over a Jell-O cup. They're pretty sure they've solved the riddle, and that there are vampires for sure. Martine says she doesn't remember, and the detectives give up immediately. That night, one of Michael's nurses is walking through a scary hallway. She calls, "Hello?" into the darkness, like a good victim, even throws in a, "Who's there?" for good measure. Then, she gets her ass morbed. The next morning, Michael discovers the nurse is dead. He fills a bag with the good stuff, puts up his hood for camouflage. It fails. The detectives hit on him for a little while. Michael hits R3 and hears that the police are surrounding him. He uses Morb Jitsu, then jumps up about 30 flights of stairs. He runs to the edge of the roof, where a gust of wind almost kills him. And then, Detective Stroud is somehow already there, and somehow captures him this time. The writers have officially given up entirely. The detectives interrogate Michael in jail. Rodriguez brought his holy water.
It's triple blessed.
From McDonald's. Michael says he needs his blood bag. The detectives say no. So he says,
"Hey, you don't want to see me when I'm hungry."
And the entire world cringes. Later, Milo visits Michael in his cell. He says Michael's not a bad guy, and there's no way he killed that nurse. He then drops some blood so that he can morb. And on his way out, he drinks some blood, and oh god, he morbs too. Michael butt chugs the blood and then morbs hard. He morbs right through the wall and across the street. He wall climbs and flagpole swings and a bunch of other Spider-Man stuff. He uses Vision of the Gods and hears Milo talking to a newspaper vendor. He kills him for no reason, so Morbius covers ground fast and gets in his face. He tells Milo to stop, but Milo is already evil. He says, "I won't let you make me go back," which doesn't make sense. Then they morb through the subway lines together. Freestyle morbid. Parkour Morbies. Milo says, and then together they try to figure out the plot again. The police arrive. Milo uses his up B and kills them all. Then he does a Fortnite dance. They fight again and use the Force. Michael remembers the gust of wind from the roof earlier, and in a moment that's unironically badass, he catches a draft and flies in front of a subway car. I don't know if the science checks out here, but I liked it. Then, because the plot needs to move forward somehow, Milo starts stalking Martine. The detectives stalk her too, but Michael stalks the best. He's somehow on the bus that she gets on, even though she boarded it randomly, and tells her about Milo. Then, in a cafe, he tells her the artificial blood is wearing off. Amazingly, a couple of crooks come into the cafe and start speaking openly about their counterfeit money laboratory across the street. Mike follows them. He steals blood from a paramedic bag that's lying in the alley like this is some kind of PS2 game. In the lab, Jared makes a bunch of jokes, but the bad guys are too weirded out to find it funny. He says some doctor shit and breaks a guy's hand. Then, he actually says, "I am Venom." This joke actually made sense in the trailers, but the producers cut out the punchline to save time. Later that night, oh my god, the moment we've been waiting for all our lives. Milo, full of vim, does the Morbie Shuffle, the most cursed dance in the history of cinema. Then he goes to the bar and decides tonight's the night that he sheds his virginity. But the girl has a boyfriend, so Milo waits outside until they leave, striking a really stupid pose, then murders every single one of them, because he's evil. Continuing his dick spree, Milo breaks into his own lab and broods around the room for a bit. He hasn't realized that you can click the thumbsticks in yet, so he needs Martine's help finding his friend Mike. His ears have gills though, not sure what that's about. He then says his catchphrase,
"We are the few against the many,"
and trundles away. The detectives break into Martine's apartment, but she and her cat are gone. Martine is with Michael. Martine cuts her finger, and he morbs. She slaps the ground. And that works, I guess. He says it wants to hunt, which is a cool way of saying he has a boner. Later, Morbie broods on the roof. Martine comes up and they remind each other that they're doctors. They finally kiss. And Milo is watching. The following morning, the detectives continue their pointless charade. CCTV footage shows them that Milo is the world's second Morb. Dr. Nicholas sees the footage, so he goes to visit Milo. Milo says,
I am the resurrection.
Which is the dumbest flex I've heard all year, then threatens the doctor who spent his entire life taking care of him. He slaps away the blood he offers. He says Milo was always his favorite. He gives the Morb edition of the guilty dog look. Then, you guessed it, he says,
We are the few against the many.
And then wrecks the doctor. Chills. Meanwhile, Michael has made an antidote. It will fix him, but it will probably kill him too. He uses his new kiss ability again and leaves. He goes to find Nicholas, somehow still alive, but then he dies. Incredible. Suddenly, his Daredevil sight tells him that Milo has kidnapped Martine, so he morbs across the city. He knows how to fly now, even without a subway train. He lands on a Rubik's Cube and kisses Martine as she dies. Seriously, dude, stop using that ability. There's a time and a place. But wait, she got some blood in her mouth. He bites her to make her a Morbie too, so he doesn't have to be alone. Even though he's preparing to kill himself with the antidote in a minute, I don't know. Milo appears and the CGI starts going off. Then, in the moment that saw audience scores rocketing up towards 2,000%, the two vampires duel. At first it appears Michael may have bitten off more than he can chew. Then it appears that, well, I'm not sure, it's hard to tell what's going on. They fall for a while, and then they end up in a sewer. Then they fall some more. Milo says, "Woo!" Again. Morb Daddy hangs like a bat because symbolism or something. He screams, desperate to morb, but he can't. But then, oh fuck, he morbs. Bats surround him, which helps him somehow. They don't help Milo though, somehow. Milo tries to spear him, but Morbius does something, I don't know what, and Milo doesn't spear him. The bats hold Milo down, and Morbius hits him with the antidote. Milo says, "You can't kill me," and then he dies. Guess he wrote a check that his Morb couldn't cash. We see the detectives approaching, their complete lack of involvement in the plot still untarnished, and Morbius morbs into the sky. We see Martine, and she morbs too. Then, I don't know, it just ends. Just kidding, post-credits scene. Michael Keaton has appeared in Sony's cheap-as-shit universe with no reason given. Then it ends. Just kidding, post-credits scene again. Michael uses an old-ass GPS to drive across the countryside. I didn't know he could drive. The Vulture shows up, name-drops Spider-Man, and says, we should team up. Then it ends for real. The Sinister Six movie is going to kick ass. Damn, this movie was so good. I hope it gets a second run in theaters. Wait, what? It has? Oh man. This is truly the Citizen Kane of our generation. Subscribe for more videos, hit the bell to do the Morbie Shuffle, and like to show your support for this wonderful film. Check out my gaming channel too if you'd like, link below. See you next time.